Welcome to GovCon Unscripted, where we dive into the unfiltered stories and strategies from all around the world of government contracting. Join host Chelsea Roberts as she explores how to navigate, thrive, and win in this complex but lucrative industry.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to GovCon Unscripted. I'm your host, Chelsea Roberts, CEO of Collaborative Compositions, and today I've got with us Eric Coffie, founder of GovCon Giants. Eric, who are you, and what do you do?
Oh, I do a lot of stuff. Who am I? I'm an individual who's trying to change the lives of small businesses everywhere, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job of it. We help a lot of small businesses through training, education, and recently, when this new administration took over, I felt the calling to move closer to DC just so I can be more involved in what was happening and be able to advocate for owners like myself. When you're not so close to all the action and activity here, you don't really know what's going on. And I want to throw myself in the middle of all of this craziness and enact change. And I felt like by being closer here, I could get access to people and information and resources and then publicly share them. And so that's what I hope to do today.
I love that. You're probably most well known for all of the information, the content, the materials that you share on your multitude of platforms. You've got the YouTube, the LinkedIn, the podcast, everything. And I've noticed as of recently, your content, first of all, has gotten incredibly sharp. Like, it's very sharp. It's super consistent. It's excessively informative, which I feel like everybody needs. And it covers everything from A to Z. You don't stick in the basics. You don't stick in that, here's what you need to know, or you can go find out at your Apex Accelerator. You really get deep into the weeds and explain some of these topics in a way it's really digestible. So I, for one, appreciate that. And I think that everybody else and both of our audiences combined appreciates that about you. I'm curious, how did you find that you had a knack for just distilling some of these complex topics?
It's interesting. First of all, thank you for that, because I really do spend a lot of time on this. These are not just off the cuff ideas and thoughts. This is 20 years of in the grind, right, of knowing and learning at the same time of what to do, what not to do. And again, I start off sharing just my personal experiences. But when I launched my podcast in 2018, I've been at it now 8 years. I've got 500 plus episodes of people that I've interviewed. So I have all their ideas, their stuff in my head as well, that just getting all that stuff out, not just telling the stories, but actually taking it in. I think I'm a really good listener, believe it or not. And when I'm with people, I'm very intentional. I'm not on my cell phone. I'm not texting. I think a lot of people could learn from that.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. One of my students recently, I was giving him access to something, and I made a Loom video of a recording showing how to get access. And then he said, I still can't get access. I said, did you watch the video? He said, yeah, I watched the video. I said, okay, let's go back and look at the video together. And I did the actions. And I said, these are the same thing I showed in the video. He goes, oh, I watched it, but I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's...
But he said that out loud.
Oh, poor guy.
So I asked the question, did you watch the video? He said, yes. I didn't ask, are you paying attention to the video, which I didn't know to ask. And so I say that because when you say, how do I find that I had a knack for it? I was paying attention. And so for me, when I was helping some small businesses back in the early 2000s, I was whiteboarding, explaining these concepts to all of our new staff and all of our new team members. So I have pictures of me doing whiteboards in 2008, 2009. This is how this works, and this is how you build a pipeline, and this is how you target agencies. I've been doing that just in the shadows for many years. And when the technology caught up and I said, okay, there's this platform called YouTube, and now you can make videos, and there's a podcasting and you can record. And so I just took advantage of the platforms and just shared the same information I've been sharing online.
That's an incredibly informative and important distinction to make there between paying attention and capturing the attention of an audience and just being a part of the content that they scroll through. And I think that especially right now, I've seen just an abundance of what is probably AI slop, and it's very noisy and it's very hard to cut through and really get the attention of folks that are either interested, might be interested, or just scrolling through. So I'm curious, what's your strategy or approach to getting people's attention when it has become so noisy in the market?
I'll tell you something that's funny. Believe it or not, one thing that I can say is one of my gifts is being able to take complex stuff and make it easy.
Yeah.
And so what I find in our particular marketplace, a lot of the, I guess, nerds, I would say, of the contracting area, so they all like to go back to the FAR, right? And I go, if you're just going to tell somebody to read the FAR, then you didn't help them understand any of this stuff, because they could have just read the FAR instead of reading your quote to say to read the FAR.
Yeah.
I find that interesting enough is if you say things and you don't reference the FAR, you can actually draw those people out.
Yeah.
I'll say it a different way. So I read this before. If you want people to interact with your content, just write something wrong and they'll all fix it. If anybody wants an idea of how to get the attention of these people, just write something really wrong. And then trust me, there will be many critics tearing you apart and telling you what's wrong about what you wrote. But it will get the attention. You'll stand out from the noise. So that's one way you could do it.
Wow,
it's true. It works.
Yeah.
I show you actual posts that it works. And so then you say, oh, okay, sure, that's great that you corrected that. However, you did not provide any context or information to people as a whole. So this is what we have to do to get the information to people that don't even know these 4 things, right? This is not a contract. It's a contract action, or it's a contract vehicle, right? They're like these little nuanced things. And I go, okay. And so what I've learned, this is me, again, everyone can't do this, can deal with the criticism of those people that are otherwise not putting out content or sharing it to anyone, any of this information. Those are some of the things that you do. What I've also learned is this whole thing is storytelling. Gary Vee says you have 1 second. So you've got to get your hook down, right? You got to get down the hook of what you're opening with, and you've got to get down what the graphic they see, the caption, the image, whatever first thing that they see. So we've gotten better at that, and we focus on that a lot more. I can tell you an example I have today that I could show you of a video that did I take it down? But it was a video that I did where I interviewed these 2 women veterans. And in the interview, they talked about this program for veterans. It's called Voc Rehab. And so you can get money to start your business as a veteran. They do reimbursements and things like that. So when I released that video 3 years ago, I put on here 2 women veterans discussing their path to entrepreneurship, taking advantage of some of the VA programs, right? And so that video, I did it in 2018. That video today has about 4,000 views. I re-released that same exact video a month ago. And on the video itself, I'll show you if sharing's turned on. On the video itself, I changed the name of the video on the thumbnail. And where did it go? And so basically I took the name, I changed it, and on the thumbnail, where's it at? On the video itself, I changed the thumbnail, and it says basically, oh, here it is. Here, I'll show my screen, and then I'll say it out loud for people who can't see it. But basically, the same exact video, same people, and on the thumbnail, it says VA pays you to start a business. See that?
Wow. Yeah, it does.
By the way, it's
Holy
the same
cow,
video.
Same video, about the same amount of views, but in 2 weeks.
2 weeks versus 8 years.
Holy cow. That's incredible.
You understand? Like, again, I'll show you the other one. Hold on. Let's pull it up. I'll show you the other one. Let me see if I can find it. Veteran. Oh, wait, this is a whole thing. But yeah, it says, hey, the VA will pay you to start a business. So I just reframed it, right? And it's the same video with the same people. And literally, it got the same views at 2 weeks as it got in 8 years. Here's the original video. Veterans get paid to learn government contracting.
Wow, it's got less views in that amount of time.
See, now it keeps rising. Oh, there it is. Okay, here. You can see the distinctions on your screen. There you are. There's the top video with the same ladies. Look, 6 years ago, 3.9K. And there's mine right here, 2 weeks ago, 4.1K. Same people, same videos.
Holy crap.
So there you are. I've done that. And by the way, this is not the first time I've done that. I've done that with several times. So I tell people, because people are like gatekeeping information or I go, no, they're not. You are only attracted to certain types of information. This has always been there.
You just want the clickbait.
You want the clickbait. You want
100%.
it.
Yes. And there's so many people out there that'll be like, clickbait's just bullshit and we don't want that. That's polluting the industry. And I'm like, that's not what the stats say. That's not what the views say. That's just a natural inclination that you are driven to click on those clickbaity, check it out. You're going to see something that you didn't expect. How do you come up with those topics, if you don't mind sharing?
So I will say Grok has been my best friend.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I use AI. So I use AI to rewrite my titles and to give me those thumbnail suggestions. But you definitely have to train the models, because some of my staff are still terrible at writing thumbnails.
Yeah.
You have to train the models. So I've trained it, and I've written several high-performing titles and thumbnails recently. In fact, I wrote another one that literally drove like 2,000 new subscribers in a week.
That's okay. Wow. That's incredible. I am absolutely trying to soak up as much as I can from you, because goals over here.
No, it's interesting that you talk about this today, which is, I always tell them, I don't understand how people go out and they start these things and then they know someone like me who's done this at a high level and they don't even ask my advice. I told my best friends that. He goes, yeah. He goes, you say that? I go, I have good friends that start a YouTube channel. They never ask for help.
Yeah.
Like they put in our group chat, hey, I started a YouTube channel. Go on, can you guys go like my channel? And one of them, I remember, I go, hey, I have a YouTube channel for what? If you need anything, let me know. I was like, oh, thanks, I appreciate that. Never ask for any advice. That is such, to me, a small business or a single, like a 1099, like one-person company type of mindset. Steve Jobs says, if you go listen to his clips, he said, I've never not reached out to a CEO, someone that turned me down. People are willing to help. We just don't ask people for help. Yeah. So I blame it on our egos. And that might not be the nice way to say it, but I just like, obviously it's your ego, because you are too egotistical to go ask this person to help you, knowing that you don't have all the information, all the answers.
Yeah, no one has all of the answers, and no one has all the answers, especially when companies are just starting out and they're really trying to get into the federal ecosystem. And there's such a big learning curve that if you don't ask for help, it can be soul crushing, right? Like folks just get turned down and turned off of the entire thing because they figure I should know all of this, or I should be able to figure it out on my own. And I'm like, no one does that. No one can do that.
No one's successful.
Plenty of people do it.
Plenty of people do it. No one does that. No.
Wow. Okay. So that's probably going to be our first clip from this episode is asking for help is the superpower. Being able to just go as far as picking up the phone and being like, hey, I don't know exactly what I'm doing here. Can you give me any advice, any lessons you've learned? Because people like yourselves, so generous and very successful in doing it, are willing to provide that little bit of guidance that might really help you get that next step and cross that boundary.
Yeah, I had a guy I met. It's funny, where I was in Florida, I lived in a small town that was like a tourist town. Like basically a lot of people were snowbirds. And so when the snowbirds are gone, it's not say dead, but it's not as active a town. It's very socialite, like upper class. And I remember walking to the town one day and this guy calls me out. I said, Eric, is that Eric? And so this random guy, and I'm like, yeah. He goes, you may not remember me. My name is so-and-so. I was like, okay. He was like, I reached out to you for help on LinkedIn and you helped me.
Wow.
I didn't even remember it. I asked you for some advice. I was working with this company and we're doing some training stuff. And I asked you some questions about how you run your training programs and what you charge and things like that. And you took your time out to help me with that. And I never forgot it.
Wow, that's how you make an impact. And it really matters to those people that need the help, that need the support. That really makes a lasting impression. And that's something that you're great at, by the way, making a lasting impression with folks. And so, I hope you take that as the highest compliment. That's fantastic. It's something that really is important.
One of the things that I also do that I think a lot of people don't do is I'm very intentional. When I'm with people, I'm with them. So I'm not on the phone, I'm not texting, I'm not in another world. I'm actually with them intentionally. And I try to tell people. I remember having lunch with some friends not too long ago, and we all knew a third party. And so this third party called one of my friends and said, hey, she's trying to reach you. And I go, I'm with you guys. I'm here at the table present.
I can get back to you later.
I'm
They're
like,
not here right now.
Like, I'm here with you guys presently. We all arranged to be here together.
Yeah.
So this person trying to call in to us, I could talk to them at another time, but I'm here with you guys in a moment. And I said that to her. And I'm like, so I mean, you elected to just leave from this conversation to be on the phone with this individual. I'm staying present in the conversation. And I'm very good at calling that out because I see a lot of people don't do. And then they wonder why they don't remember who was talking about what, and they forgot, or it was the story that could have changed their life. They didn't hear it because they were somewhere else. So yes, they were at a conference, they were at the event, but they weren't present. They were in their room at the conference. I flew to San Diego to be at the conference, but I'm in my room to finish the thing instead of out there in the conference, which is the thing that I'm supposed to do, which is why I'm even in this city in the first place.
Yeah. And I think if you've been to a conference, you've probably seen the guy who's like at the side table on his computer trying to do his meetings for work and trying to balance the best of both worlds. And you're like, bro, you just missed the keynote. Weren't you here this early for the keynote? What are you actually here for?
Isn't that the thing? Yeah, that's why we're here, to get the information that's going to impact our businesses to take back.
Yeah, and it truly is that you've got such a difference there between the people that are there and there with intention and the folks that are there just trying to balance it all and maintain their day-to-day job and go to an event and be outside of their day-to-day job. And I'm so curious, what are your thoughts or best tips for time management for those folks? I'm sure you've been asked, how do you do it all? How do you do everything you do? You seem to be doing all of the things all of the time. How do you do that? How do you get that impression out there?
I don't watch the news.
Good advice. Yeah, solid.
I know when people watch the news because they spout the news. People that watch the news, they watch the news because that's what comes out of their mouth.
Yeah.
I don't have notifications on my devices.
Wow.
I don't have dinging sounds. I don't have alarms. I don't have beeps. I don't have any of that stuff. I do like what Elon Musk says that he does, which is they go, how do you manage all these multi-billion-dollar companies at the same time? He goes, focus. He goes into a deep focus on one thing. We've all worked in a deep focus state for several hours at a time. You get more work done in those 2 hours than you get in a whole 10-hour day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But if you're in a deep state and if your phone rings and your cousin says, hey, my mom's dryer went out and we got to buy a dryer, then you got to reset your brain back to where you were at. And that might take 20, 30 minutes to get back. Even if you can't even get back there, you probably can't even get back to that state. So you've lost that time. And I think so many of us are like squirrel. And then so we never get to really the focusing piece, if that makes sense. And so I think that's the thing that a lot of people have. Another thing is that people, they set out their deadlines far out, and then they take up all that time it takes to get something done. I forget what that word was. And again, Elon Musk talks about this, make shorter deadlines for yourself. See if you can accomplish your 10-year goal in 6 months. And so for me, I don't watch TV. My TV actually doesn't come on until very late, but it's not even TV. It's like something in the background for noise. I don't know anything. I will say this. How about this? I interviewed another successful guy. He told me the same thing. It's the power of saying no. I don't know who's playing in the playoffs. I don't know who's winning a sports game. I don't know who's winning baseball, basketball, football. I don't know who's in the Super Bowl. I don't know the score of the Super Bowl. I don't know who's in the FIFA. I don't know anything.
Except and you know that
and I know
extremely well.
Extremely well. Correct. So I don't have a wide range of other outside knowledge that is outside of what I do. But I know procurement. I know what's happening in that world. I know the rules. I know the regs. I know all that kind of stuff. I know policies. I have alerts on for any news related to our industry. So those I curate in all of my inputs. So.
I love that. That's one of the key pieces that I think a lot of people miss. It really does take some really intentional effort to make sure that you are putting yourself in the best position possible to be able to get done what you need to get done to achieve your goals, to reach your next step in your career progression, and to evolve into your ultimate next form, because there's probably not really a final form. It's really always constantly learning and growing and adapting and pivoting when necessary and making those changes, but based on the information and the wisdom that you've gained and that you've learned, and not making the same mistake over every day and being like, I sat up until 9, I got up at 6, then I had the TV on till 9, and then I got started with my day. And it was like, I cut off at 5, and then I hang out on the couch or play with my dogs or whatever. And yeah, but when you look at it from a holistic perspective, you've got to see that there are things that are getting you forward and towards your objectives, and things that are clearly not. And is it worth having those things that are clearly not to prevent yourself from getting farther, faster, more, better, all the things? So that's some very valuable insights. I've noticed also with your content and with things that you've been doing, they've changed over time. You're not where you are today. You're not in the same place today as where you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and you're not focused on doing the same things. You just moved to Virginia to do what? Were you even thinking about doing that 5 years ago, 10 years ago? And what does that change look like for you?
I moved to Virginia, and it really was burning desire. Once Trump took office, I said, I got to get closer to this. My friend says closer to fire. Just whatever it is, whatever you're trying to do. If you want to be a model and you need to go to LA, you move to LA. If you want to be on Broadway, go to New York, or whatever, in Silicon Valley, go. That's one of the biggest life hacks that anyone can make. You were a startup company, Silicon Valley is probably the best place you could be if you can afford to just pick up and move there, right? If you have that option. So I just said, okay, if I really want to go all in on procurement at the highest levels, let me just immerse myself here in the place that it's known for. And so for me, I have a couple things that I want to do. One is I'd like to have a live podcast studio here in DC.
Ooh.
So that's one of the things. I'd like to have an actual live studio so that we could capture these stories of people here and around the town. The other thing is I wanted to start participating on the Hill, with congressional people, seeing how the actual process works for putting in laws and stuff into place and advocating for policies and things that we want to see change. I just think a lot of people don't understand civics, and they don't know how that civics works. And we don't understand contracting. People don't understand civics, and they don't know how laws are passed or bills are passed, or we don't understand any of this stuff. So how can we make a difference when we don't even understand any of this stuff? Keep shouting and screaming, all this stuff, but if you don't understand how the process works, or how a bill gets passed, or how anything gets pushed through, you really have a hard time enacting real change, unless you just got a lot of money, you can just write big checks, which most of us don't. And even if you do have a lot of money and you can write big checks, you want to make sure it's being well spent to the right people as well. You don't just write blank checks to people that you don't know, or things that you don't know, and people tell you a lot of things. So I just wanted to be really, again, just being here present physically has been a world of a difference for me. I had lunch yesterday with one of the banks that's one of the largest SBA lenders in DC. We found out about things that are happening and within the SBA program by being here. I find out things that are happening with just being here and going places with people. You get to learn about what's happening, that it's affecting thousands of people's lives, if not tens of thousands or 100,000 people's lives. So you don't have access to all that kind of information when you're not here. So that's all. So that's the reason that I came, and it's already worked out. I can tell you, I moved here physically, I think around September. I was only here for about 40 days before I left. But in the 40 days that I was here, in September through October, I literally went out to an event every single day. I keep saying this. I ate dinner at home 4 nights in 40 days.
Wow.
There was that many events to go to.
Holy cow.
4 nights in 40 days. Shut down. The government shut down.
I know, it was hard to tell, especially if you're in the deep embedded, right? Like, people were still working, things were still moving, stuff was still happening.
First of all, let's talk about this. I meet with business owners, people who are entrepreneurs. And one thing that I learned a long time ago, and this is why I even start doing federal contracting, not state or local, federal, is because when the world shuts down, the federal government still is at work.
Yep. Very much
when there's
so.
a hurricane, when there's a wildfire, when there's a tornado, they still have to work because they're providing services, they're mobilizing people. So when people say government shutdown, you meant like partial shutdown, right? Because the government never shuts down fully. That's just the term that's used, the news tool. The government has never shut down fully. That means we would stop operating, which means you wouldn't get gas to your vehicles, you wouldn't get cars, you wouldn't fuel tanks, you wouldn't have jets flying, you wouldn't have tanks up. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just a very news term, shut down. It was never shut down. It will never be shut down.
No,
I don't care if they don't vote for you. Like, it will never technically be shut down because they still have to get to the buildings. People have to go to the offices. You think the Congress people are locking the doors and opening the doors and to the buildings? You think the president or any of the people in the administration or the cabinets are doing that stuff? Those things are still happening. They're going to walk into clean desks, clean buildings.
With the lights on. And
with the lights on, the power still working, warm, and heater. So I say that, and not to denote what did or did not happen, but just to say effectively, I'm here because when everything else crashes, the government is still there writing checks, bailing people out, putting things in place, rescuing folks that are stuck in floods or whatever case may be. That's what we do.
And that's been my experience as well. Is one of the reasons that I work exclusively with federal government is that it will always keep running. They will always still have to function one way or another. And shutdowns, okay, that might have to deal with appropriations dollars, but they are still working. They just can't move forward into the next funding cycle yet. Correct. But they still have funds. There's still money moving. There are still things happening. You just got to be able to work with the right people and talk to the right people. That's probably an overused excuse for folks that are just like, I didn't want to do anything during this period, or I want to feel like I was vindicated for all of the lack of responses I was able to get.
We doubled down.
Yes, we did. 100%.
Down.
You not only doubled down, you moved there and you were like,
I'm all in.
Shut down what?
I took all my chips and I pushed them in.
I love that. Pushed him into Virginia, by the way, which is an interesting choice. Some people say that's an interesting choice.
So I learned that it's Northern Virginia. It's not Virginia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, very clear. It's definitely not West Virginia.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But it's not South Virginia apparently either, which is not the same Virginia as what I've heard.
All right.
That's what they said. Because I was like, why do you guys say Nova? Why don't we just say Virginia? I'm with you. And they're like, there's a difference between the Northern Virginia and South Virginia. So there is no SOVA. It's just Nova. So you're either in Nova or you in Virginia.
I love that.
I learned that. They trained me. That's what they taught me. I've never been to South Virginia. I'm definitely going to visit because they're getting some flack down there in South Virginia. I don't know if they know it or not.
I'm fairly sure that they may not be paying enough attention to that. So
I would agree with you.
Don't compare me to that. I mean, we don't need to be compared to them.
I agree with you. They're probably not paying attention to.
Yeah.
They probably have a name for us up here too. Probably not very nice either.
Oh, it's probably not. I would get that. 100%. You moved into the belly of the beast at an interesting time, especially within federal contracting. Since this administration has started, there have been an abundance of changes, and they've been taking place in much more rapid succession than I think I've seen in my lifetime. And there's a lot of awesome buzz terms being used for things like revolutionary. And so I want to touch on the revolutionary FAR overhaul. Is it revolutionary? Is it long overdue? What's your take on that? Because I'm curious to know what your thoughts on that are.
For me, again, I interview all these people that are experts and work in government. One thing that I've learned is that, particularly when it comes to federal government, FAR, or any of these rules and stuff, I mean, everything is still up in the air.
Yeah.
So you can't make a decision and know the impact of something today based on something that was decided yesterday, right? So you won't find out if it's revolutionary until 3, 4, 5 years from now.
Yeah.
So if someone to say anything so revolutionary, they're not a student of history because we don't know revolutionary until it actually reveals itself.
Hey, I guess if they started by calling the Revolutionary War revolutionary, and I have no idea if they did, I don't think my textbook specified if they were all calling it that back then, or if we just looked back and we were like, that was revolutionary. This was huge.
Yeah. So for me, what do I think? One is, again, we as people, as humans, have always had the ability to adapt and overcome. And regardless of whether it's revolutionary or not revolutionary or however you take it, AI is coming to eat your lunch, whether you like it or not.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't get a chance to decide whether or not you're going to participate in this thing. It's the same thing when I tell contractors. It's revolutionary to you because you got to now comply with whatever is in there. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's revolution in the sense that we all have to comply with whatever's in there. I don't know if it's revolution in the sense that it's going to make big changes, sweeping changes across the board, but it is revolution in the sense that we now have something new that we have to comply with, just CMMC, just like AI. What's happening with the stock market, SaaS companies, all this stuff. But we're in an ever-evolving world, and I think that's what makes it exciting.
And I think that there's some old guard in GovCon, especially, that it's too much too fast, or it shouldn't change. It was built this way for a reason. And all of these new things, I've seen flashy things come down the pike before. Nothing's going to really impact us, and it's not worth paying attention to. But I think the reality of it is, while the baseline and while the sort of the basics that you have to do, it's still going to be compliance driven. And there's still going to be a lot of regulation and regulatory impacts that you'll have to pay attention to for your business and to grow within the federal sector. And it's still going to be very much having to appeal to and identify and relate to your end customer, right? But like above and beyond that, there's not a whole lot that's going to be the same probably in these next several years that we can't adjust, learn, adapt, pivot. And if you are one of those companies that's one of the legacy primes or one of those old big companies that's just, we've been doing this for 100 years, we're not going to do anything different tomorrow and we're still going to get ahead. Okay, let's look at companies like Palantir and Anduril and Shield AI and all of these newcomers that are coming in. And yes, while their founders have money, lots and lots of money, they still also have different approaches and different processes and different ways about entering the market that are allowing them to get so much farther, so much faster than the older companies, traditional legacy primes, have been able to in that amount of time. So what are you advising these days for companies that are entering the market? Is it the same things that you were advising 10 years ago, same stuff that you were saying at the beginning, or has that changed too?
Actually, no. To be honest with you, I'm saying different things now. But let me take your first question first and foremost. One thing that I've read a long time ago, I read a lot, is that everyone wants change. They just don't want it to happen to them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. We all want change. It's not to me.
Yes,
so,
it's hard and scary. And
that's with everything, not just procurement. That's with any and everything. That's just how it goes. I remember when Uber came out, people didn't like Uber. You're going to ride in a car with a stranger. Airbnb, you're going to stay in a stranger's house. Like all this stranger danger stuff that we were taught. Now, that's the way I look at any of this stuff when it comes to change. The other thing is, for me, whenever there's a big disruption in any sort, there's opportunity. My urgency to move here. Even though I moved here and physically only stayed for a month before I left for 6 more months, I still want to physically be here because I made the commitment and I uprooted myself and I'm here. Because, like you said, anyone who has stuck in the old ways of doing things and do not want to conform will be left to the wayside. And for me, I think that whenever that happens, that creates opportunity for new people. So I'm okay with shedding some of the old and bringing in the new. That's just a part of any era that comes in, right? Any generations from baby boomers to millennial to Z. And I just think that's just part of change. And I'm here for it. I'm okay with it. And then what was your next question that you asked me?
What sorts of things are you saying
Advising
differently
people.
now?
Let's just talk about program-specific things like 8A, for example.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
Let's just take 8A, right? The big gorilla in the room, right? So believe it or not, I'm actually advising people to go into 8A right now. But I've never in my life advised people to get 8A. Never. Never once.
Okay.
So think about this. So while everyone is yelling 8AA, I was yelling learn procurement, learn procurement, learn procurement. Yeah. So now everybody's like, A is going to disappear, desolate it, and they're going to take it away. Yeah. I'm yelling everyone should get A.
Why? Tell me why. I need to know.
Funny, right? So I'll tell you why. So my logic is that, yes, okay, they don't want the 8A program, whatever they're saying they're going to do. My belief is that they will not get rid of the 8A program. So if you believe, I believe that they won't get rid of it in its entirety. The 8A program right now is at the lowest amount of participants in history. It was at 4,300 companies. Then they suspended 1,000. They spent another 100. So it's at 3,000 companies, which they anticipated that they would drop off at least 30% of the companies. So if you drop off 30% from 4,000, it gets you to 3,000 and 2,000. Let's say we get to 2,500-ish, which is what people were predicting, okay? And they still have a 5% goal.
Yeah. Who's that money going to go to?
A lot of people are going to make a lot of money. So for me, I'm like, hey, I think everybody should get 8A right now. Warren Buffett says something, and he says that when people are fearful, you should be aggressive, and when people are aggressive, you should be fearful.
Yes.
Again, when the stock market is going up, everybody's positive about, that's when you're supposed to be fearful. When the stock market starts crashing, that's when you're supposed to be greedy. Okay?
Yep.
When everybody's
Yes.
fearful. Right now, everybody's fearful of 8A. You're supposed to be greedy when everybody else is fearful, Chelsea, not the opposite. You're not listening to Warren Buffett.
Oh my God. It just goes along with something that I say pretty regularly is never let a good crisis go to waste.
But
Never
again,
let a good crisis go to waste.
I'm saying when everyone's fearful, you're supposed to be greedy.
I love that. That's counterintuitive.
So that, to me, that's how you're supposed to start this episode off, okay? When
Yes.
everybody is fearful, you're supposed to be greedy. And so for me,
That's a hook.
hey, let me tell you something. If you're listening to this and you have the chance and your application is in and they're going to approve you, call me. I will show you how to work that thing, okay? Because I tell you this right now, and Sam Lee was on my podcast recently. Sam Lee writes articles, Substack. We all know Sam Lee. The 8A program had its best year last year.
Yeah.
They are still giving out $100 million sole sources as we are speaking, as the program is being audited, as it's being investigated, as people are being suspended, they are still giving out contracts. Don't let anybody tell you anything differently. Go check for yourself. Fact check me if you don't believe it. Go look in FPDS or USA Spending. They're still giving them out. They're still making awards. Just fewer and fewer companies are getting bigger and bigger piece of pie. In fact, Chelsea, I will go a step further. And I'm telling people it's the best time to get in fellow contracting now than it's ever been, because when I started, there was 9,000 8A firms. There was 120,000 small businesses. The pool has shrunk.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if you couple that with the baby boomer businesses that are going away, the fewer and fewer contractors, if you just add all these factors together, this is a recipe for a perfect storm. People to get very successful and grow a company very quickly because they need good people that can perform. They just don't have them. Nowhere can anyone find them, from NASA to Space Force. No one can find enough good people, talent, quality companies out there anywhere. And if you're watching this from a government agency, put in here that if what I'm telling you is the truth or not. You know it? Because that's what they say to me.
Yeah.
I don't not hear that. Do you hear anything different?
I don't hear anything different. I hear the exact same thing. We need good companies. We just need to know where they are, who they are, how to get to them, and sign us up. And that's one of the hardest parts.
So again, it's the best time.
Yeah,
the absolute best time. It's a phenomenal time to get in here. Yes. Is it harder to start? Absolutely. It's harder. They've taken away a lot of the entry points of starting.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm in DC, because I recognize that some of the places that you would start traditionally are been taken away. But if you're in a place like DC or Virginia or Maryland, these kind of places, you could go to any event anywhere and meet the right people, and in one day you can get in the door. I was at an event last week with Breaking the Standard podcast, and we literally at that event, I met someone that just left GSA recently. She was 10 years in GSA, and the people are in the room. Yes. Judy Bratt was in the room. Everybody's in the room. A lot of people that we know in the same circles were there. Like, you could just go from that event to having lunch, to having a coffee, to who should I be talking to, who's working there now, who's running that program today. And now you're in there like swimwear.
I love that. I love that. This has been just incredibly informative. I can't wait to see what's next from you, what you're going to do in Virginia. I want to see all of your testimonies on the Hill. I want to be right there in the front row throwing my popcorn and saying, go.
We're doing some really big stuff for small businesses with some national organizations that I'm not going to say today. I actually have a meeting to go to right now that you will see some of our impacts being felt. Again, one of the things I will say, as an organization, when you look at the numbers, and I pull down some of the GAO reports on SBDC and PTAX and stuff like that, we help the same number of people, client-wise, like my organization. Yeah. People don't know that.
Wow.
Okay, we serve the same number of people, but we're not funded. And so when I went to the SBA some years ago about being one of their Empower to Grow or 7J trainer, they told me that they give it to the same people because it's the easy button. Yeah. And I never forgot. That stuck with me, the easy button. And so for me, coming in with this administration, they're trying to get rid of that easy button stuff. because people like me who have value to add to the table that has already proven myself, I didn't ask for nothing. I'm like, hey, we have capacity, we have skills, we have a history, like all this stuff. They're like, no, because they're the easy button. I don't get in trouble if I give it to them. Now that time has come. And so I think we're having conversations because I think our time is closer to coming, and people are going to see us impacting in their local towns in a major way through a national organization. And so we look forward to doing that because we should be doing it because we're already doing it, but we're just not getting the credit for it. So now we could be recognized as a partner, and that's one of the things that we're looking to do. And by the way, that wasn't on my bingo card for this year. It just happened. It just happened. It wasn't on my bingo card for 2026, but it's happening.
When you're in the right spot to have those conversations, they tend to happen organically. And I think the great piece of advice for those folks that are trying to figure out how to get through and get in via email, you've got to go there. You've got to have the conversations. You've got to be in the mix and be there when the time is right. Because if you're not, you're going to be overlooked.
You're going to be overlooked. Yeah. So
I love that. Yeah. How can folks get a hold of you if they want to know more about what you do, if they want to work with you, if they want to just call you out on all of your 8A stats?
LinkedIn. Listen, LinkedIn. I love it. I love LinkedIn. Look, you can troll me anywhere. I'm not really afraid of trolls. I invite all the trolls. So feel free to troll me anywhere. Well, I like LinkedIn because it has a lot of smart people on it. So just be careful with yourself because you might be calling yourself out too at the same time. But look, I make mistakes. I've had some, and I want to publicly thank, for example, Stephen Coprint, Guy Timberlake. Like they've said, hey, Eric, this post, you made a mistake there. And I know you didn't intentionally make it. They sent me a private DM. I fixed it or took it down, whatever the case may be. There's people like that have high integrity that I respect the industry. But if you want to troll me, I'm with it. I'm okay with that. I'm good with the trolling too. A guy trolled me on Instagram last year and I called him out. He stole some of my content, repurposed it, and I called him out. He had a screaming match. And then after several other influencers saw that he was mad at me because I called him out for taking my content, he ended up having to publicly apologize. So
I love that.
Hey, I'm with it. I'm in that era now of my, like you said, I'm in my confidence era where I can stand some bullies. So bring it on.
I love it. I can tell that you've really found a new light. And you're definitely in your confidence era. And I want everybody in our audience, first of all, do your part, leave a heart, go share, go subscribe, get it into your friends' ear holes because Eric's got some of the most impressive and consistent and informative and valuable insights of any of the guests that we're ever going to have on this show. Thanks, Eric, for being here, for having the conversation. I'm going to have you back on, by the way, because this conversation is certainly not over. And I would love to hear about all of your stories about the Hill and all of the things that you're doing. And then when some big announcements come with national associations, we're going to have to give you a platform for that too, because it never hurts to get out in other places.
It never hurts. I love spreading the gospel of procurement. You let me know.
Will do. Okay. Appreciate it. Thanks so much, Eric. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks all for listening.
All right. Appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of GovCon Unscripted with your host, Chelsea Roberts. Do you have a GovCon story or need guidance in government contracting? Connect with Chelsea on LinkedIn to be a guest on the show or to enhance your business strategy. Don't forget, your network is your net worth. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with your growing GovCon community.